And welcome to Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. I'm so blessed to be with you today in beautiful downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. And once again, if you would like to call in and talk to me on the show today, you can call this phone right there, and it's 702-983-0711. Once again, 702-983-0711. And I'm with you Monday through Friday from 1 to 1:30 Pacific time in the afternoon. And you can call in and talk to me live. You can also call me 702-600-0005. That is my personal cell phone number, and you can leave me a message. You can tell me what you think about the show, or you can call me and we will set up an appointment for you to be on the show. Whether you live in the Las Vegas area or out of town, we can set it up. You can sit in the studio here and you can be on the show. We talk about a variety of issues, but I like to talk about politics the majority of the time. With that being said, I want to talk to you today about domestic terrorism and international terrorism. It's just a horrible thing. We had another shooting today in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 5 dead, 8 injured. They have the custody and the suspect in custody, Esteban Santiago. The information is just being leaked out right now. Just a horrible thing. You know, people are going to visit their loved ones coming back in town from visiting their loved ones, and you can't even go to the airport and go home, get your baggage and go home. We have to do something, I believe, not just having metal detectors when you're about to get on the plane, but I think there should be metal detectors when you enter an airport, whether it be an international airport or a local airport. We have to stop being responding to things. We have to start being proactive. We cannot continue to sit back and let these terrorists, because it seems like they're always one step ahead. No matter what we do, the terrorists are always one step ahead. And now we're going to, of course, probably there'll be bills being passed, and we'll drag our feet on it. But they'll start probably putting metal detectors when you come into these international airports, and I think that's something that should have been going on. I think it's a shame. And, we have to lose 5 more Americans today and 8 injured. And they're in our thoughts and prayers. We hope that they pull through, because it's just a disaster what's going on, and how you can get a weapon into our airports and terrorize our citizens, I believe, is just a travesty. And I think we have to do something about it. Donald Trump has been talking about it. They wanted to let more people in. These liberal Democratic nuts want open borders. They want people to just be able to come into our country without being vetted properly. And look at what's going on. It seems like there's a shooting around the world. There's a terrorist act every single day. And, it's because of the open border policies of Germany and the open border policies of France and the open border policies of the United States of America. And if you notice, those are the countries that have the majority of the terrorist attacks. And it's because of our border policies. We've got to close our borders. We've got to secure the American people. And we have to vet people that are coming into our country and want to be citizens. They should have to wait in line with everybody else. And we should not let these terrorists come into our country, because they don't want to assimilate. They hate America. Wake up, America. There are a lot of people around the world that don't like us, that don't have our best interests at heart. And we're just letting these people into the country. And we're not thinking, we're not doing anything. So I think it's a shame, and we continue to be reactive instead of proactive. And that's because of the Obama administration. That's because of Secretary Clinton. That's because of Secretary John Kerry. They're not proactive. They don't go out and stop things from happening. They don't think ahead of time. They're always reacting. And we're losing our citizens and our soldiers all over the world because of their reactive policies. Look at what happened in Afghanistan. Look at what happened in Iraq. Look at the vacuum that was left because of our reactionary policies. And what came with that? ISIS. We already had the Taliban, we already had Al-Qaeda, we already had Muslim Brotherhood, and now we have ISIS, which is the largest of the irrational, terrorist groups. Muslim Brotherhood is the second largest, but, now we have ISIS to deal with. And, they're radical Islamic terrorists. We won't even call them. The Obama administration to this day has never used the words radical Islamic terrorists. But that's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are. And now, it's starting to come to the motherland. We're starting to have so many terrorist activities that happen in the United States of America. How many people are we going to lose in this country before we wake up? Listen, I am definitely a very conservative American. I believe in the NRA. I believe in your right to bear arms, and I believe that everybody should have the right to protect their home and their family and their possessions. There's no doubt about that. I am a definite member of the NRA, and I believe in your right to bear arms. But something has to be done to keep these semi-automatic and military-style weapons out of nuts' hands, out of psychotic people's hands, because I don't know what we have to do. I know a lot of the laws are already on the books, and it's just about enforcing them. But, this is common sense. I believe in common sense, and I always talk about that every day. I told you about, I don't believe in these conspiracies and stuff a few days ago on my show. I believe in common sense. I believe that if we continue to vote the same people in, you get the same results. I don't think that's a conspiracy. I think that's that's stupidness. That's being an idiot, and that's what we do over and over again in this country. And I think if we keep the same gun laws on the books and we don't make any strides, what's going to happen is there will be a fight one day, and it's already the liberals want this. The liberals want for these shootings to continue to happen. And it'll be on the news all day, and they'll cry and they'll whine. They don't want common sense gun laws. They don't want common sense immigration laws. They don't want common sense border patrol because they're nuts. They want to keep the argument going until they can shut it, they can have it the way that they want. They want open borders. They want our guns taken from us. That's their plan. That's what they want. And until the Republicans get together and start fighting with each other and come up with common sense immigration reform, come up with common sense gun laws, the liberals are just going to continue to let this happen. They're going to continue their propaganda. It'll be on the news every night on ABC, NBC, and CBS. And of course, now that they have their traitor Megyn Kelly over at NBC, they will continue to propagate this, that our guns need to be taken away. And at the same time, though, it's so crazy. They want our guns taken away, but they want the borders open. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Who's coming over the borders? You don't think they have weapons with them? Do you think that they're part of some of them could be radical Islamic terrorists? Some of them could be some part of the Muslim Brotherhood or ISIS or Al-Qaeda? Do you want to vet the people that are coming into this country? Absolutely not. They want open borders. And at the same time, while we're being threatened by terrorists coming up through the Mexican border, they want to take Americans' guns away. So you don't have the right to defend yourself, but they have no problems with terrorists coming up through Mexico with weapons of their own, drugs of their own. There's something wrong with their agenda. It is the nutty, liberal, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton agenda that they've been perpetrating on the American people for the last 8 years. We have to do something about that. We have to, hopefully Donald Trump changes the direction of this country. I am a conservative, as you can see. I am a Trump supporter. I have no problem speaking my mind, but I'm about common sense. I think most conservatives, they used to call us Reagan Democrats. I'm from the Midwest, and we're just about common sense in the Midwest. And, there's nothing wrong with the Second Amendment. There's nothing wrong with your right to bear arms, but at the same time, something's got to be done. So people like Esteban Santiago and these other nuts don't have a right to bear arms, and they don't have a right. Some kind of background checks have to be done on them. Some sort of mental tests have to be run on them before you give them a weapon. And we have to get the weapons off the streets. You see over the weekend, New Year's weekend, how many people lost their lives in Chicago. We always talk about terrorism if it's at an airport or if it's at a nightclub or, God forbid, 9/11 when the Twin Towers came down. But that was 3,000 people, and it was one of the worst terrorist acts that the world has ever seen. But every year, almost 3,000 people lose their lives in Chicago. Almost 1,000 alone on the south side of Chicago. And ask those people how terrorized they feel in those neighborhoods of Chatham, Hyde Park, Jackson Park, South Chicago. I grew up in those neighborhoods. Pilsen. Ask people how they feel about how terrorized they feel if you live in Watts, or if you live in Compton and some other neighborhoods in inner city Los Angeles, or if you live in the Bronx in New York or Brooklyn. Some of those people are scared to come out of their homes. They can't allow their children to play outside. They can't allow their children to walk to school by themselves. Those are acts of terrorism as well. When 15 to 16-year-old kids are shot at the bus stop in Chicago waiting for the bus, that's not terrorism. What is that? What is that? When they're semi-automatic weapons that go through police vests on the streets of Chicago, what is that? Yeah, we have a president, Barack Hussein Obama, and a mayor in Rahm Emanuel who do absolutely nothing for the city of Chicago, and those people are terrorized. That is domestic terrorism. You know, some of those children are so traumatized. You know, they always talk about soldiers and coming home with some of the problems that they have, and never getting over being in the war. Some of those children on the south side of Chicago or inner city Los Angeles, they suffer from some of the same symptoms that soldiers suffer from when they come back from military war. It's the same thing. We have domestic terrorism that goes on every day in our inner cities. And Black Lives Matter and Noah Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, those nuts, do absolutely nothing to help these children out. What's going on in the inner city? We have to get these guns off the streets. We have to have common sense gun laws. You know, it's like anything else. You have a right to bear arms, but you have to go through the proper means to get those weapons. You have to go through background checks. Your IDs have to be up to date. They should just not hand you a weapon. There are people that I think that should be gotten. There should be contact people that, these gun people get in contact with to ask about a person who potentially wants to buy a firearm. I think, if you have to go through a lot to get a driver's license. I think you should have to go through 10 times as much to have a weapon. I don't think that you should just be able to walk up and down the street with a weapon and you haven't gone through vigorous background checks. There's nothing wrong with common sense. Common sense background checks on weapons, common sense vetting of people that are coming into our country. What is wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's just common sense conservatism. That's just common sense. And that's something that we've lost in this country. We're extreme. We're either one way, we're either right-wing nut or left-wing nuts. And there's no common sense what happened to the Reagan coalition, to the Reagan Democrats. They finally, to me, I think they talk about the forgotten man and woman. They used to call them Reagan Democrats. But people with common sense, people that have seen their jobs go overseas, people that are struggling to put food on the table every night, came out in record numbers and voted for Donald Trump. The people that feel threatened by the government, by Barack Hussein Obama's socialist, radical government, people feel threatened. People see people being hungry on food stamps, people being shot in their communities, and it seems like nothing's being done about it. He used to brag on his record about terrorism. His record in terrorism the last year has been a disaster. How many domestic terrorist situations have we faced in our country in the last year or two? From Sandy Hook Elementary on to the nightclubs in Orlando to today. His record in terrorism has been horrible. And Hillary Clinton and John Kerry have done a horrible job as Secretary of State. Every place they've been, whether it's Russia or that ridiculous Iran deal that they signed, this country, this world is less safe than it was before they took office. And I just hope and pray, I can't wait. We don't have that many days left, a couple of weeks left before Donald Trump officially becomes the president. Of course, he didn't wait to become president. He's been working every single day. He's been meeting with generals. He's been meeting with businesses all around the country and just trying to do things for the United States of America. And I hope one of the things he does is institute common sense gun laws and common sense immigration reform. And I hope that he secures this country. I hope that he builds this wall because, we have to feel safe here. It is just beginning to get a shame. I don't know what it's going to take. I hope it doesn't take a bioterrorist situation to be unleashed in one of our cities, or for there to be some sort of a dirty nuclear bomb unleashed where there's thousands and thousands of people that are killed and get sick. I hope nothing like that has to take place for the American people to wake up, for our government to wake up. But it just seems like we're such reactionary government right now that it's going to take something like that dramatic to happen before people wake up and demand from their government that we close our borders and that we vet people coming into our country and we get these military-style assault weapons off of our streets. You need a gun to protect your home. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing. I think every homeowner should be able to protect his property, should be able to protect his family and his loved ones. But some of these military-style weapons, unless you are fighting a war, and what do you need this for? What do you need armor-piercing bullets for? It's just ridiculous. And, we're losing too many Americans, whether it be at nightclubs or whether it be at movie theaters or whether it be at airports. Like today, we're losing too many of our American citizens to just senseless domestic terrorism because these nutty liberals don't want to feel like they are interfering with the rights of people. You know, you have to call them what they are. They're radical Islamic terrorism. If they're not Islamic, they're just radical nuts. They're radical terrorists, and something should be done about them. And that's not being racist, because that's the first thing, of course, the Nancy Pelosi-led Democratic Party wants to throw at you. That if you ask any questions about anything, you are a racist. Well, you know, I'm Cuban and I'm African American, so what are you going to say about me? Because I'm asking the same questions. And I know a lot of African Americans that ask those questions. They feel terrorized in their communities. They feel terrorized when they go to clubs or when they go to functions in their cities. You never know when gunfire is going to break out. And I feel like something has to be done about that. And I feel like, you know, common sense gun laws is one of the things that just has to be passed. You know, it's just really, it's making me upset that these people are walking around with these military-style weapons in our cities. And, you know, they take these things out of their bags and out of their coats. And, you know, our loved ones, our children, our husbands, our wives are at these events and at these places. And they're just trying to go out and have a good time, or they're just coming back from a trip or whatever. And you lose your life senselessly. What did they do? They did absolutely nothing. You know, our American citizens, they you know, they're living the right way. They're abiding by the law. They're just trying to work or get home to their loved ones and go on vacation with their loved ones. And the next thing they know, they're ducking behind luggage and just trying to, you know, in fear for their life. They're just trying to live. And, you know, there's nothing being done. And you know, our military, I don't believe, is being supported. You know, I don't think that the airport security in a lot of these places, you know, like in Chicago, I saw that, you know, there was a part of the airport security that wasn't even allowed to have weapons. What, you know, I always talk about common sense. What sense does that make? How are you going to secure anything? How are you going to secure the second largest airport in the United States of America, O'Hare Airport in Chicago, O'Hare International Airport? How are you supposed to secure that airport when half of the security there is not even allowed to carry guns? That makes absolutely no sense. So if this man had walked into O'Hare and opened up fire, what would the security have done? Run? I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. Why don't we have metal detectors when you walk into the door of an airport? Why isn't every officer in every one of those airports, what are they doing there? If they're not, they don't have weapons, they can't protect the people that come into the airports, they can't protect themselves. Why are they there on the job? They're just sitting ducks. They're just pigeons to be shot at because they can't even protect themselves. You know, I know a lot of Americans that are angry today at what's going on. You know, they're at airports right now and they're watching everybody to see what's going on. It's a shame that we have to, what's happening to America? It wasn't like that when I was coming up. This country was not like that. People ask questions. People told on people. I don't care what you call them. You call them rats, whatever you want. I will be a rat if I see something that I don't like and I feel like it's going to threaten your family or my family. I'm going to rat them out. I'm going to go talk to the nearest security guard, the nearest police officer, the nearest military person. And I would ask you to do the same thing, because what if it was your family member and somebody saw something and didn't want to say anything about it, and you lost your loved one today? How would you feel about that? So speak up, speak out, and you know, don't let this continue to happen. If you see something that you think is wrong in your community, if you see something that is wrong when you're out at a mall or at a movie theater or at an airport or at a nightclub, or at a parade or whatever is going on, but there are a large group of people together, and you see something that does not fit in, please say something about it, because we all American citizens. And, you know, I love it back in the day when you lived in communities where your neighbors were your security guards, your neighbors looked out for you. You know, too many of us now, we go in our homes and we don't speak to each other, we don't speak to our neighbors. And I'm big on that. I'm always looking out for my neighbor's property. I look out at night at my business and I look at my neighbor's business, because, you know, if I don't speak up, that could be me. What if they were in their business and something was happening to my property and they didn't say anything about it? We all have to look after each other. Tell me what you think about this. Once again, you can call in. You can call this phone directly, 702-983-0711, Monday through Friday, 1 to 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, and you can talk to me live. Once again, that number is 9830711. I also stream live on radiotribune.com, and the show is on. We play it over again many times, along with Face the Tribune with Rolando LaRosse. I co-host that show, and that's on from 12 to 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday, Pacific time. But you can call in to both shows, 702-983-0711. If you would like to talk to me directly or leave a comment, I don't care where you're calling from, where you watch this video from, I answer my phone and I get back to my subscribers. And the number to my cell phone is 702-600-0005. 702-600-0005. You can call me. You can leave a comment. I'll let you talk to our producer if you'd like to come in town and do the show. If you would like to do the show over the radio and you're out of town, we absolutely will let you call in and you can do a show with us over the radio. Or if you would like to support us in any way, you can call my personal number and get in contact with us, and you can talk to our producer, Cian. We would love to hear from you. What radio host does that? But that's how much I care about the American people. I plan on being here at Radio Tribune in the beautiful Las Vegas Tribune facility. I plan on being here with you for years to come. We have big shows, big guests. We're going to talk about important issues. Watch my show. And when you finish watching my show, scroll down, subscribe. Subscribe to Chris Garcia, The Conservative American. I see the subscribers going up. The numbers go up every day. Subscribe to Face the Tribune with Rolando LaRosse, in which I co-host. We have so many big things coming up this year. Don't be a bandwagon jumper. Don't you hate that? I'm one of those people. My friend Alex Jones, I started watching the show when he first started it, and one of the first, broadcasts. And you always feel proud when you feel like you found something, and you can tell people, hey, did you watch Alex? Hey, have you heard about this? That's how Chris Garcia, The Conservative American, is going to be. It's going to be like that. It's going to continue to grow. We're going to have important guests on. And you don't want to be a bandwagon jumper. Subscribe now. Call those numbers that I gave you. Let me know. If you subscribe and you call in, we will even send you a newsletter. We will let you know about upcoming guests, upcoming shows, upcoming topics. We will keep you around the country. I'm going to be your voice for conservative America, for common sense America. And along with Donald Trump as president, our country is going in the right direction. We're going to do big things. As always, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. He wakes me up every day, gives me the opportunity through God Almighty. And I just want to, my friend Dan is looking through the Radio Tribune right now. But, God just means so much to me. And I feel so blessed to have this show. And my friend Dan is coming to the studio right now. He's a good friend of ours. And it's just very, very, very important that we continue to get out. Dan's gonna walk in front of me. That's all right. He's a good friend of mine, Dan. But I just thank you so much for watching and listening to me today. That's my friend Dan. I'm gonna have him on the show next week if possible. And he's another person that loves America. He is a true patriot. And, we feel so blessed to have him as a friend. And it's going to be a big show. We're going to talk about a lot of things that are interesting to you here in the United States of America. He is a true patriot, and I can't wait. Once again, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people in Fort Lauderdale. It's a shame what's going on in this country. We have to secure our borders. We have to have common sense gun laws, at the same time protecting people's rights to bear arms. That is what our founding fathers, they gave us the right to do that. That's why they made the Second Amendment. And I'm always going to stand up for you and your rights to protect you and your family. But this domestic terrorism has to stop. And we have to just have common sense border patrol, common sense laws in this country. And we have to protect our borders. God bless America. Thank you so much for watching my show today. God bless our troops all over the world. You are always in our thoughts and prayers. And Godspeed to Donald.